Telecommunications infrastructure is a defining moment in the Nigerian modern landscape. From Lagos to Enugu, network masts tower over rooftops to ensure that millions of Nigerians stay connected every single day. They form the backbone of mobile connectivity in the country. Generators, on the other hand, serve as an alternate and primary source of power supply because of Nigeria's bad electricity system. Because of this, there is a need to regulate the telecommunications sector in Nigeria, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. My name is Moniyeoluwa Sola-Oyewole, and I'm a graduate of Bowen University, and I am also a legal graduate trainee here at HARLEM Telecoms Academy, proudly sponsored by HARLEM Solicitors. And today I am going to be giving a lecture on the topic, A Bird's Eye View of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003, hereinafter referred to as the NCA 2003, and the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency Act 2007, hereinafter referred to as the NESREA Act of 2007, on the abandonment of masts, generator noise levels, and setbacks. The Nigerian Communications Commission is the primary and only regulatory body in Nigeria that guides telecommunications operations in Nigeria. Section 70 of the NCA 2003 empowers the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy to make subsidiary legislation. In addition, Section 34 of the NESREA Act of 2007 also empowers the Minister of Environment to do the same. For the purpose of this lecture, we are going to be focusing on two major subsidiary legislations. We are going to be focusing on the guidelines on technical specifications for the deployment of infrastructure in the telecommunications sector 2023, hereinafter referred to as the 2023 guidelines. And we're also going to be focusing on the National Environmental Standards for Telecommunications and Broadcasting Facilities Regulations 2011, hereinafter referred to as the 2011 regulations. Now, Section 136(3) of the NCA 2003 also says that telecommunications operators in the deployment of infrastructure in the telecommunications sector must ensure that they protect persons, their property, and the environment they live in when they are conducting their operations. Now, you may be wondering, what is a mast? A mast is a structure that holds antennas and other equipment to ensure that communication and broadcasting facilities can take place and services can take place. In addition, a mast, because of this heavy equipment that the masts carry, there is a need to ensure that there are good engineering practices and there is safety when there is in the deployment of infrastructure in the telecommunications sector. Now we're going to be moving on to the abandonment of masts in Nigeria. Now the NCC, there is a structure in regards to the abandonment of masts in Nigeria. According to the 2023 guidelines, in paragraph 26(a)(b), it states clearly that a mast can only be said to be abandoned when it has been abandoned for a period of 3 consecutive years. Now, the NCC will take a step to send a letter of confirmation to ascertain from the telecommunications operator if this is so. Once confirmed, then they will ask the telecommunications operator or operators to dismantle the structure within a period of 90 days. If they fail to do so, the NCC can step in, dismantle the structure, but the consequence of this is that the telecommunications operator will be fined a sum of 250,000 naira only minimum, as well as reimburse the NCC for the dismantlement of the structure. Now we're going to be going to generators. It's no secret in Nigeria that generators form a huge part of the provision of our power supply because of Nigeria's bad electricity system. Because of this, we also have to regulate generator noise levels and setbacks in Nigeria. Now, in regards to this, we have NESREA, and NESREA, as the environmental watchdog in this area, has provided laws, mainly in their 2011 regulations, according to regulations 9(1) to 3, to ascertain this. Now, in regulations 9(1) to 3, it states that telecommunications operators have to ensure that their generators in their BTS sites, which are base transceiver station sites, have a minimum of a 15-meter setback between the generator and any domestic water body. The setback simply means the distance between the domestic water body and the generator. In addition, the generator also has to have a minimum setback of 8 meters where the nearest demise property or residential property has no perimeter wall. But where there is a perimeter wall, the minimum setback requirement is 6 meters. Now, in Schedule 1 of the 2011 regulations, NESREA also goes further to state or to stipulate the appropriate decibels that ought to be during the day and at night. Now, according to NESREA, the law states that day starts from 6:01 a.m. to 9:59 p.m. at night, and night starts from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. the next morning. Now, we're going to be looking at three major categories. We're going to be looking at commercial areas, areas where hospitals and schools reside, as well as residential areas. For commercial areas, there is supposed to be a minimum amount during the day and during the night for these three categories. So for commercial areas, we have 55 decibels during the day and 45 decibels at night. For where hospitals and schools reside, we have 45 decibels during the day as well as 35 decibels at night. And for residential areas, we have 50 decibels during the day and 45 decibels and 35 decibels at night. Now, you might be wondering, how do you measure this? Is it just because a generator is sounding that and they're making noise that I can, write a petition to the NCC to say that the decibels or the noise of the generator is bothering me? No, you can always get a noise meter or a decibel meter to measure the decibels to ascertain if the telecommunications operator has committed an infraction. And when this infraction has been ascertained, then you can write a petition to the NCC in order to draw attention to the regulations that have been broken by the telecommunications operator. Now, the last thing I'm going to be going to today is in regards to something that happened in April 2012 in regards to a tussle, a back and forth between NCC and NESREA. Now, these are two regulatory bodies that I've mentioned over and over again in the course of this lecture. However, in 2012, they had a tussle. This tussle was caused by the shutdown of an MTN BTS site in Abuja. And why was this? It was because the 2023 guidelines that I have earlier mentioned throughout the course of this lecture were at that time the 2009 guidelines, which had stipulated a 5-meter setback minimum for residential areas. However, the 2011 regulations I have also mentioned had stipulated a different setback requirements, which was minimum of 10 meters from the nearest demised properties. Because of this, NESREA shut down this MTN BTS site, fined them a total of 5 million naira and 50,000 naira every day for when the BTS site was operating. So NCC stepped in and realized that we had already told MTN, as well as MTN as an MVNO or as a telecom operator, that the minimum setback requirement was 5 meters. Eventually, in the course of all of this back and forth, there was a resolution, and this resolution came in form of the NCC NESREA resolution communique, which stated explicitly that the only regulatory body in Nigeria that can make technical specifications is the Nigerian Communications Commission, as empowered by the NCA 2003. NESREA serves as just the environmental watchdog in the telecommunications in the telecommunications industry to ensure that people and the environment that they live in are safe. Because of this, these two bodies have now worked hand in hand to ensure that people, their properties, and the environment they live in regards to telecommunications operations in Nigeria, are safe. Now, they have been working hand in hand to ensure technological advancement as well as ensure community well-being and environmental safety. With this, I hope you've been able to understand a few things about the NCA 2003, the NESREA Act of 2007, the 2023 guidelines, the 2011 regulations, as well on the abandonment of masts, generator noise levels, and setbacks in Nigeria. Now, for more information, I want you to visit www.harlemsolicitors.com as well as www.ncc.gov.ng. Thank you.